Project Workbench.
I'm not squeamish about snakes.
Why did it have to be snakes?
I'm not squeamish about bugs.
There's something on the ground.
I'm not squeamish about rats.
Oh, rats.
I must be a pretty brave guy.
You know, when it comes to action-adventure movie heroes, Harrison Ford is king of the mountain. As Han Solo in the Star Wars films, and as Indiana Jones. Ford's rugged screen presence, his physical daring, and a sense of humor have made him a box office marvel. In fact, Ford has starred in 5 of the 10 top-grossing films of all time. Now Ford is back for a final crack at Indy in Steven Spielberg's Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. We had a rare talk with Ford near his Rocky Mountain hideaway about his life, his career, and his movies. You know, heroes are hard to come by these days, and Ford may feel a little ambivalent about being a hero in the movies, but for filmgoers of a whole generation, Harrison Ford really is the Last Crusader.
I wasn't a big movie fan. I didn't go to too many movies. When I was really a big movie fan, it was Gene Autry and serials. Although I went to movies through high school and college, it was really just a part of dating. It was just a cheap, dark place you could go with a girl. No, I love movies. I mean, I get a real kick out of them, and I wanted to be an actor. And I knew that you had to go to LA or New York to be an actor. So we loaded up the car, and then we flipped a coin about whether we were going to go to New York or LA, and it came up New York. So we made it 2 out of 3. And then we got in the car and drove out to Los Angeles.
In Hollywood, Ford worked as a late-night pizza chef and as a knick-knack buyer at a department store to stay afloat. In time, he even became an expert carpenter to the stars, a skill that would pay off down the road. He even dabbled in rock and roll.
I worked on a road tour film of the Doors, went around for about a week with them on a concert tour. When it was over, I was one step away from joining a Jesuit monastery. I thought it was cool. I thought it was hip. But I couldn't keep up with those guys. It was too much. I was part of the camera crew, second camera. I don't think any of it was in focus. Not a bit of it.
Those were the old days, weren't
Yeah, those were the old days.
Some people call me the space cowboy.
It was his portrayal of the rakish hero Han Solo in the box office smash Star Wars that gave Ford his future. Ford's on-screen daring do had just the right touch of self-mocking cynicism.
We've lost lateral controls.
Don't worry. She'll hold together.
Jimmy, baby, hold together.
There's a lot of difference between my feelings about the Han Solo thing and the Star Wars films and Indiana Jones. It was great to do the Star Wars things. I would not want to do it again. On the other hand, I don't feel that we've run Indy into the ground yet. I don't think we've exhausted the potential of that character and the possible circumstances we could get him into. I like Blade Runner a lot more than I used to. I think it's an awfully good film and a real original film. I'm very pleased to have done it. I like these films, but I wouldn't say that action adventure is my sort of favorite genre. I do enjoy other kinds of films. I'm convinced that you have to demonstrate a continuing versatility and continue to do new things if you want to maintain a long career in this business, and that's my ambition.
Oh, this is great. This is the best. Don't know much biology. Don't know much about science books. Don't know much about the French I took. But I do know that I love you. And I know that if you love me too, what a wonderful world this would be. Don't know much about geography. Don't know much trigonometry. Don't know much about algebra. Don't know what a slide rule is for. But I do know what one is two. And if this one could be with you, what a wonderful world this would be.
I wasn't desperately looking for something that was specifically like Witness, but I was looking for a more adult kind of film to do, a film which would appeal to a different audience, broaden my audience. It's probably one of my favorites of the things that I've done.
Don't know much about science.
Witness earned Ford an Oscar nomination and established him as a romantic leading man. But Ford didn't bid farewell to his action side entirely. When we come back, we'll get a good look at the stunts that make Indiana Jones famous.
I do this.
Don't just see Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Be Indiana Jones and take on 6 new adventures. Call 1-900-990-INDY on your touch-tone phone to play the Indiana Jones telephone adventure game. Every caller can write in for a great Indy photo certificate. It's only $2.50 a call. Kids, check with your parents before calling.
You call this archaeology?
Take on the challenge and don't miss Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Rated PG-13. Starts Wednesday, May 24th at theaters everywhere.
I can't think of a better job than being an actor.
I want action tonight.
It's better than a real job.
Satisfaction.
There's stuff that is pretty exciting and fun to do. Things that you don't ever imagine you might do in life.
Harrison, have you ever done anything like this? Dragging behind a car?
Dragging behind a car. Dragging behind a car.
I roll cameras.
No?
Put your head up just a little if you can, that's it.
It's just one more useless experience.
Okay.
I'm sure it's not dangerous. See, if it was dangerous, they would have waited until we got more of the movie done.
I never knowingly take my life in my hands, and I don't do anything where I think that there's a serious potential of being hurt. The whip took a couple of weeks. The character took less time than the whip did. The whip's fairly tricky, and there aren't a lot of people that are around to teach you how to do it.
Harrison is great to work with. We had to teach him to do things that he had not done before, some things that really hadn't been done in films of recent years. It was quite an experience. I have used a whip before, but it's the first time I've ever had to teach an actor to use it. They can be quite lethal. You can beat yourself half to death with it before you learn how to manage it. And Harrison stuck with it, and he learned it quite well. So we incorporated it in several of the fights.
I lashed myself about the head and shoulders for at least a couple of weeks before I really figured it out.
I say whip it. Whip it good.
I think what can be good here is that everybody is laughing. At this point, faces are all lit up.
Popped out.
Yeah, exactly. And when you turn around, the first curious reaction is, gee, who broke my glass? And then you look down, you see the blood spreading on your chest. And you start to get very weak-kneed, and Indy sees the same thing, and you exchange places.
Stephen pretty much likes shooting, likes working with actors a lot. The way these things are generated, Stephen sits down and he says, what if, I got it. What if these guys are in this tank and then Indiana Jones is on a horse and he's chasing after this, and he comes up with all this stuff, and then he has storyboard artists who draw it all out, and then they rearrange it and everything and break it up into shots that are manageable. And we do it in pieces and we put it all together and it looks like it all happened at the same time.
Harrison is contributing so much to the writing of the script, to the story, to just the general feeling of the film. He probably, I'm not going to get too superlative here because I work with some incredibly inventive actors, but he's one of the most inventive actors I've ever worked with, who deals on a level that is so human and so identifiable. His ideas are all of our ideas. In one pure flash, Harrison will come up with something, and it's absolutely right.
We had been shooting in Tunisia in the middle of an old city. And the night before, we'd rehearsed the beginning of what would take us 3 or 4 days to shoot, which was the elaborate sword fight with this swordsman. And I had, at that point, I had pretty bad dysentery. I could only stay out of my trailer for 5 or 6 minutes at a time. The whole crew was ill. Coming into work the next morning, it occurred to me that it might be easier and even more fun to shoot this guy, although that's not the kind of thing that I usually think about. And when I presented the idea to Stephen, he said, I was just thinking that. I was just thinking that too. Isn't that incredible? And so we did it. Bumps and bruises and accidents in the second one. I had a bad back problem, herniated disc, and had to shut down production for a couple of weeks well, more than a couple of weeks, 4 weeks. Well, I came back to the United States and had an operation on my back and went back and finished the film.
You got that from riding the elephant? Is that just...
Yes. Yeah, I had a slight herniation, and doctors never warn you against riding elephants, you know. But it was silly of him because he should have mentioned something about that.
Those aren't real elephants. Those are actually men dressed up in elephant suits from Western costume.
Well, I know I'm going to get dirty. I know I'm going to get bruised. I know I'm going to get bumped around a lot.
All set?
Hardest thing is to keep your head on. That should do it.
Well, there was a scene where I'm holding on to the, where I've been knocked off the tank. And the strap on my bag has been caught on a gun that projects from the side of the tank. And the tank the guy who's in command of the tank, decides to scrape me off on the side of a wall.
That looked great.
That was a fairly exciting thing to do.
Kids don't try this at home. It's really best left to professionals like us. People who really know what they're doing. Meet me at Omar's. Be ready for me. I'm going after that truck. Oh. I don't know. I'm making this up as I go.
You first got to know this character in the first film, and so he was new and fresh and unique, and when you saw him in the second one, I had myself feel that it didn't work as well, and a lot of the character things didn't work as well.
Is this serious?
A lot of what made the character attractive to me and the audience, I think, was missing from the second one, and I was very ambitious to get those elements back into the third script.
We found it.
And especially with something that you've done 2 times before, the obligation is certainly to the audience is to provide them with the best that you can possibly come up with.
The shield is the second marker.
What's that?
It's her rubbing Dad's made of the Grail tablet.
Just like your father. Giddy as a schoolboy. Wouldn't it be wonderful if you were here now to see this?
He never would have made it past the rats. He hates rats. He's scared to death of them.
My father is in search of the Holy Grail. He is hired by an American industrialist who turns out to have a connection to the bad guys.
The quest for the Grail is not archaeology. It's a race against evil. Germany has declared war on the Jones boys.
And the bad guys are, again, the Nazis. It's the best bad guys there are.
Nazis. I hate these guys.
So it sets me up in opposition to the Nazis again, and I go off in search of my father.
Where's my father? In the belly of that steel beast. Dad! Junior!
When I find him, we go off to find the Grail to keep it out of the hands of Hitler.
You call this archaeology?
I thought that the only way the character Indiana Jones would be interesting is if we found out something new about him. We saw him in a different kind of relationship. The usual relationship for Indiana Jones is with a woman.
I need one of the pieces your father collected.
I learned to hate you in the last 10 years.
The women that we've had in the films have been a kind of woman, very useful to the film, very useful and appropriate to the genre, but they didn't lead to relationships that I thought were very interesting or exciting.
Who are you?
And neither did I think they were very positive images of women. And the woman in this film, I think, is more interesting. There's a very interesting twist on this woman that I don't want to talk about because it will spoil some of the fun of it.
How dare you kiss me?
Elsa Schneider, the part I'm playing, is a very cool lady who is she has her wits about her. She's very like Indy in a sense. She's like a mirror image of Indy. I see her. She's an art historian, so she just goes out and gets what she wants usually. They wanted a Lauren Bacall, that sort of lady. So I think the rest is left up to you.
How will we recognize this Dr. Schneider when we see him?
I don't know. Maybe he'll know us.
Dr. Jones?
Yes.
I knew it was you. You have your father's eyes.
And my mother's ears. But the rest belongs to you.
Looks like the best parts have already been spoken for.
But the main relationship in this character is with my father, played by Sean Connery.
What do the Nazis want with you, Dad?
They wanted my diary.
And that brings a whole another level of sophistication to it, and also something I think that the whole audience can relate to.
Dr. Jones.
Yes?
I knew that he'd be a good actor for me to work with because from what I knew of him, he works pretty much the same way that I do.
What book?
You have the diary in your pocket.
You don't. Do you think my son would be that stupid that he would bring my diary all the way back here? You didn't, did you? You didn't bring it, did you?
Well,
You did. Look, we'll discuss this later. Or she'd have mailed it to the Marx brothers. Will you take it easy? Take it easy? Why do you think I sent it home in the first place? So it wouldn't fall into their hands. I came here to save you. Oh, yeah? And who's going to come to save you?
Neither of us are method-type actors. I mean, we're both, I suppose you could say, technical-type actors. And we like to work fast and loose, and we like to have fun.
Dad! Dad, what? Head for the fireplace!
And we both have pretty much the same opinion of when it's good. So, I don't know, it was just real easy. We had a very easy relationship.
Those people are trying to kill us. I know, Dad! It's a new experience for me. Happens to me all the time.
Indy's back in a big way, with romance, adventure, and plenty of action. While Ford's roles have their heroic dimensions, Ford says the characters he plays have to be more than just good guys.
I don't think about whether a character is a hero or not. I don't think you can't play hero. If you get a role and you read it and you say this guy's a hero, that means that they haven't told you very much else about the guy that might be interesting. You play a driver of a spaceship, or you play a archaeologist who gets involved in circumstances and does thus and such, but you don't set out to play a hero. And I don't think of these characters as heroes. So I'm always kind of taken aback by the whole hero notion and what it's about.
Just another day at the office.